Hello and welcome to EFAP.
Hi everyone.
Superchat Catchup, EFAP Mini for episode 302, where we started talking about Rings of Power. Episodes 1 and 2.
Certified Hood Classic.
Oh yes. And we're gonna check out what you guys sent during that episode and have a little chat, probably. So here goes.
Woohoo!
Yeah. I'm having for all the drinker people out there, I'm having a Shiner Seasonal Strawberry Blonde. It's very good. Just the kind of stuff that I like. This stuff is really yummy.
When you said all the drinker people, I was like, do you mean drinkers fans? Or what are we? What?
All of his fans are our fans. We are like two peas in a pod.
Aw. Anyway,
that would be interesting though if people really liked him, but they didn't care for us. I guess it's possible. It's a matter of taste.
There's definitely people for that. There's people for the reverse, and then there's people who hate both. There's people who love both. You get everyone. Will's beautiful.
Well, there's people on the Mahler subreddit who just don't even watch you or me or Fringy or EFAP or anything. They're just like, oh, people get to talk about movies here, I guess.
The best is when someone posts on that server say like, who's Mahler? Like, all right, I guess.
Why is this subreddit called that if you guys just talk about movies?
Someone did say that. They were like, oh yeah, I'm just here because it's a movie subreddit. It's like, okay.
I don't watch that stupid podcast.
No.
Oh yeah, fair enough. We are really dumb.
We begin with farewell and adieu to you, fair Fleamish massives. Farewell and adieu to you, massives of Fleam. Farewell indeed.
Farewell and adieu to you. Or, I don't know, is it strange to start off with a farewell, or should we say hello? I suppose it's farewell, because if he's welling fair, then we would likely be doing the same. But it feels weird to have that be the first super chat, to say, welcome to the super chats, everyone. Goodbye.
Yeah. This next one, which will probably be the truest statement said today. Waldrig is love, Waldrig is life.
Waldrig is love, and Waldrig is life.
He better come back in season 3, or I will be boycotting, at least partially.
I mean, if he is life, then he must still be alive.
He's out there somewhere. He played dead. The Word didn't finish him
floating around in the ether, but it will return one day, and he will save Middle Earth.
Return of the Goat. That's that movie.
They did him dirty.
The Rings of Waldrig.
Ew, 40 months, my back hurts. Oh no. You see someone about that. Get it. What is it called when you get it clicked into place and everything is solved? Nothing is wrong.
It's the chiropractor, right?
That's
Miracle Workers.
I call that the clickening.
It's like when Homer throws Mo onto his perfectly shaped bin, and then it straightens his spine. You remember when Homer became a chiropractor, and then they came and destroyed his magical chiropractor bin with skeletons?
I feel like Aragorn, like, to someone who's not seen the episode, they just be like, that show sounds stupid. Like, no.
It's not though.
It's beautiful.
Brilliant.
Wolf, get the clip.
Oh, I don't think it applies to these.
Oh no!
You just have to imagine it in your mind with my vivid descriptions.
Fringy turned Sauron into goo. He's that powerful? Really?
No. He turned himself into goo for some reason. I don't think somehow.
Well, I think that Adar and the rest of the orcs who were stabbing him turned him into goo. Right? It wasn't.
The goo seems to be something that he did.
I don't know that you would say
that's
that
just
they
a natural process.
They did the thing that caused it, but that doesn't mean that they turned him into it. He still did that himself.
I would still bet that it was a process that he wanted to engage in. It looked like he was doing it. He was like, yeah, let me goo up. I'm gooing.
I don't know. I feel like it's like, would you say if you kill someone, like, I turned them into a corpse?
Well, no, because that's not something you do. You're just dead. Sauron was like, he was like a tiny little drop of blood, then he turned into a bigger drop, and then a puddle, and then 8 creatures and became a goo blob, and then turned into... These are all processes. It's like climbing a ladder.
Climbing a ladder is a process. What if it's a ladder with only one step? Is it still a process? If there's...
Yeah.
I guess it takes more than one moment to complete, but...
Reject...
really good.
Reject humanity, return to Krug? Yeah, maybe. Got it.
Which one was Krug?
Which one wasn't?
I know there was Glug.
Krug was in there somewhere. I just care about the ladle one.
It's yeah, he was really good. But it is weird that, in all earnestness and sincerity, Glug was almost the best character in Rings of Power until they assassinated him at the end.
Well,
That's actually kind of wild to think about.
It happens. Since when does Sauron have to make his case to a bunch of orcs about anything? And if he did, he ought to be able to convince them pretty easily. Nope, he got stabbed.
You have to understand that the orcs, really, they run the economy of Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have them on your side, then you might be the most powerful. But if their heart's not in it, then you just have problems.
And every vote, or in this case, stab, counts. So you got to make sure you get your
That's how orcs vote. By stabbing.
Fring has a lot to answer for with Goo Sauron. Ooh.
I would say that that's not the case at all. That goo is unrelated to my goo. It's not even remotely the same.
So we're narrowing down what it is that your goo
Yeah, you can narrow it down. The goo is not like a sentient blob monster.
Yeah, I'm reading. I'm putting it down on my notes. Not like Sauron goo.
The fact.
No, Sauron goo is its own cringe kind of goo. It's not like the cool sort of goos, like Fringy goo.
I see. All right, fair enough. Thoughts on Challengers? I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
The movie? I don't think I've seen it.
Tennis, I think.
With Zendaya.
Oh, yeah, I haven't. I haven't seen the Zendaya tennis movie. Tennis is just not a sport that I really engage in. Then again, I don't watch racing, but Ford vs. Ferrari was an excellent movie, so you never know.
You never know.
Well, I guess the thing is there's a difference between watching, a movie about Le Mans and then watching the whole thing, because it lasts 24 hours, so I imagine very different experience. I imagine that's the case.
24 hours. They should have done something bold. 24-hour movie.
My God, that would have been very... I mean, a lot of it would have just been, yep, there he goes, turning. Yep, now he's going straight. Now he's turning, and then he's going straight again.
They could have made a really... They could have made a really bold movie about bicycle races.
What, like a Tour de France? Like
yeah, it would have been a Tour de France.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I wonder if there's like a big audience for a film about like the Tour de France. Maybe.
Probably not. I do wonder what the drop off was in Tour de France, if there was. But was there a meaningful drop off in the popularity of the Tour de France and bicycling in general after the Lance Armstrong scandal happened?
I mean, I have no idea. I don't know anything about cycling as a sport. I don't know what the popularity is or the health of it as a sport.
Imagine Boogie pulling a Nikocado avocado and revealing he's healthy, rich, and in a stable relationship with an actual woman, and all the drama was pre-recorded.
That's never going to happen.
Well, that's why they said
you have to imagine it. Yeah, no, that's true. You have to imagine it because it would never happen.
I don't know. I think like if that actually happened and he was perfectly reasonable and he just said, "Yeah, I did this to pay the bills. I was panicking, but now that we're safe and secure, that I can, go back. I'm gonna quit the internet and just live my normal life. I wanted to give you guys the final update." So I would be like, "Wow, okay. I guess that is the healthy decision to have made, somewhat, at least at this point." But no, never gonna. Oh shit! Here we go again. Yep. 2. This show is so bad it made Fringy swear. I don't remember Endgame making Fringy swear. Amazon achieved something here.
Endgame definitely made me swear.
I feel like you swear a whole bunch. What? Did you say?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I mean, certainly Endgame made me swear. It definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
Swear-inducing is a good way to describe the movie.
Yeah.
Emergency! Fuck! Jerry, you've killed me! Jerry! Future employment, Jerry! Homeless! Homeless! Homeless!
Jerry!
Bad fact. In the first episode of Rings of Power Season 1, the dragon that took down the eagle looks identical to the Fell Beast design. They were made by Sauron after he made his rings, since dragons were rare. Oops.
Got him.
Bum, bum, bum. See you tomorrow, boys. Some of us have to work for a living. Sounds like a Waldreg line. He would say that to the orcs or something. Whipping people. I thought the first scene was some random elf faking being Sauron. He seemed weak as hell, but you dumbos won't be perceived as weak if you play DDLC. Ah, I see how you did that there. But no, that was the Sauron. Definitely. Everyone accepts him as such. Rags, please tell Fringy he is a bird. Also, hi Mola.
Fringy, you are a bird.
I mean, you could say that.
And that's why we love you.
That's why? Okay.
That's the reason.
Only that reason? Just that?
Well, what other reasons do you need? Birds are great.
I'm not a bird, and so I don't. And even if I was, I don't think I'd feel too good about that being the only reason.
Well, it's the second reason. The other is, as you've just described, it's your incredible humility that we have a great deal of respect for. To be a bird, but to not want to admit it in front of all these fine people. I think that I enjoy that humility. I think it says a lot about you and your character. It's something we appreciate and we admire.
Man, that story just switched up. Yeah, it was one reason, and he confirmed it, and then there was two.
Don't think of it as the story changing. Think of it as the story had a sequel.
Okay. I'd forgotten that Mordor was created by an old man stabbing, twisting, and gutting a stone with a broken black flube sword until RFT's Rings of Power Season 2 Part 2. Yeah,
he really kind of did. He had to slide it in there. By the way, CGI sword, because fuck having a prop for the MacGuffin sword for the first season. Yeah.
Or not enough. One of those two.
Waldreg, the man of Mordor, he's a real cool guy.
Inside Out 2 finished as the 9th highest grossing movie ever and first for animated movies. So EFAP for it when, perhaps in a Pixar arc, would be neat. Yeah, maybe.
Pixar?
I mean...
Yeah, that would be interesting to do a Pixar one day.
If we did a Pixar, it would be a long time before we did Inside Out 2 still.
Yeah, it would
that'd be a while away.
It would be interesting if we did that sometime and we went through all the movies. There would be just like these clear like walls.
There are very clear arcs. Yeah, there's very, I would say that there are 3 clearly defined eras of Pixar. Unfortunately declining quality with each
which means we're due for an upswing. Yes.
Are we?
That's right. Yeah.
What? Oh yeah, no, it's well, I mean, what's next? Isn't it Toy Story 5?
Whoa.
Isn't that the next one? Yay. Oh wait, no, there's
Tom
like
Hanks,
some other one, and then is there no
I think
Tom
he's done.
Hanks?
Isn't he done with being
I
Woody?
mean, he might have said that, but I don't know about that. It feels like at this point, any actor saying, "Yeah, no, I'm done with the role," it's like, no, you aren't. There will be a sufficient amount of money that you could be offered, and then you will do it.
In a sense, that's actually a good strategy for getting more money, you know?
Yes, that's true. So you've got, there's good reason to say, no, this is the end.
In Unfinished Tales, Tolkien wrote a story of Tal al-Adlarain, maybe? And the Númenóreans visiting Galadriel and her husband in Lothlorien. Well, I don't think that's going to be relevant to this show. Nothing he wrote will be. Is this good rat? And more importantly, would the Don approve? In other commentary, I'm a viewer that's been around since episode 54, a Quinton one. Ooh. I've watched basically every episode, mini, TV, and gaming. Oh.
That's an OG fan.
6 years made me realize how many memes have come and gone and how much has been covered. The show has changed me a bit. Wait, sorry, the show has changed so much but so little, and I'm proud to have seen it all. Oh.
Well, we're very grateful to have you, man. That's a lot of stuff that you've gone through. You're a grizzled veteran.
Happy you've had so much fun with it. Next time you do a walking with, you should have the Unnatural History channel on. He has a master in ecology and makes videos on the ecology of fictional creatures like in Hot D and Monster Hunter. Sounds cool.
Oh, that's interesting. That'd be kind of neat. I do appreciate good creature designs as part of the world building in fantasy and sci-fi. It's one of the complaints that we've had about a lot of the recent Star Wars stuff. And I would imagine that he would share many of our complaints, though. I have no degree in biology.
No, neither do I. Rings of Power Season 2 opens up by stealing a scene from those cop movies where the police chief is going berserk at the cop who blew up half the city. I mean, why wouldn't you want it to, you know? That's Tolkien right there.
The mayor's gonna have my ass.
All right.
Sauron's gonna have my ass.
All right, Halbrand, turn in your sword and your little pouch with the insignia on it that you had to get for that one random guy that one time. That turned out to be everything you needed for your plan.
One more
that maybe
mistake
wasn't your plan.
and I'll have your sword.
So, Sauron is a little bit harder to kill than Darkhold, and instead of killing of this stabber, he creates the big cold. Neat. Yeah, he does. He explodes with coldness.
He creates the big cold. He does.
That's how winter was invented in the Tolkien universe. It wasn't around before then.
A bunch of orcs stabbed Sauron, and then he did the big cold, and that's the creation of the seasons.
Yep. Everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, what is this terrible sensation? It's like cold and I'm just shivering."
How come Sauron didn't reform as some monster with human legs, a centipede torso, and a mouse head? He ate all of them, didn't he? Not how it works, idiot. Clearly you can just...
that's obviously not how it works. If it worked like that, then it would have happened that way.
Yeah, exactly. If it worked like that, he would have had like a rat head and like a million legs.
Yeah, this is the Lord of the Rings, not Spore.
Stabbing the orc and Rey stabbing Kylo, shaking hands as an act of love. They're trying to do that meme in text.
That's a really specific emoji.
Yeah.
I didn't think they'd have that for super chats. Normally, it's just like a Shiba dog waving.
Well,
that's a really specific one.
Special edition ones,
Amazon's got that kind of pull, even with Google.
Will Waldrig turn out to be the mouth of Sauron? I would make him that if I'd control the show, because we'd just lean into the stupid. Yeah. Quite a talkative guy, that Waldrig.
Guy.
If Sauron was drowned in the ocean, he'd probably just become like Rotten the Snowman from Smiling Friends and eat a boat. Yeah, you just eat everything until he becomes the ocean, probably. All right. How timely. I just finished the Lord of the Rings Circus audiobooks and rewatching the extended trilogy. Time for a chaser of some Amazon dog shit. Play Trails in the Sky.
Trails in the Sky.
I guess that makes sense, to watch the good things and then be like, right, time for the bad things. I met another person today who had never seen any Lord of the Rings. And
here's that's the difference between you and me. Whenever I hear someone hasn't seen those movies, my heart fills with joy because that's one more person that can be introduced to it. And I envy that. To be able to see those movies again for the first time, you, my friend, you're in for such a wonderful treat.
No, wrong. They've spent all this time in their life not having seen it and not enjoying and thinking about the wonders that is that story. So they lost. I'm sorry, Rags.
Interesting. Well, Fringy, we need a tiebreaker.
Am I disappointed or happy to find out that somebody hasn't watched Lord of the Rings?
We all know the truth.
I think the real answer is, yeah, it's like, that is the reaction. I understand the perspective of, they get to experience it for the first time. It's like, well, yeah, sure, but why haven't they watched it in the last 20 years?
Well, they might not have had the opportunity, or maybe they are very young, or maybe they've just been so busy, and there's so much out there, so much content, Maybe they just have never done it.
I don't think it's like a criticism of their character. It's more so you've missed out. That's all.
Yeah. Because in a sense, like they can participate and get into it now, but it's like, but you missed out on like 20 years of the sort of evolving conversation around those films.
Yeah, it's not like missing Transformers 7 or something. That's all right.
Yeah.
Get over that. But...
And there's nothing to tarnish it as well, right? It's not like if someone said, "Well, I haven't seen the Avengers," it's like, you should, but then you should stop. It's like, but they won't want to. That's not something that they would want to do. I don't know. It's just, it really is hard to recommend things when it's like, we've talked about it with Succession. It's like, how can I recommend the show when like I want like. I would tell you to stop at the part where I was so hyped that I was ready to like watch 10 episodes a day.
Yeah.
How am I going to tell you to stop there? You're not going to want to. You'd want to see how it ends.
Succession's a better example than a lot of shows because by watching the first 2 seasons, there is, in a sense, that's a neat way to end the series.
There is. That's true.
So not a lot of things necessarily can have that cutoff point be something that kind of makes.
But at the
any
same
level of
time,
sense.
even though you could end there. I mean, you can end with Avengers, like that is a complete story, but you're not going to want to. If you enjoyed it, you want to keep going, and there's nothing wrong with that desire. I mean, they're counting on it. It's just like, damn, man, do you want to get invested only to see that investment obliterated?
It's a deal with the devil when you start some shows.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's to the point that people will hold off on watching a show until it's done because I don't want to deal with the, unfortunately, all too common occurrence of it starts, it's really cool, and then it ends horribly.
Rings of Power shitting its pants again is the only joy in life. Aw. Rip Waldrig, Lord Father of Mordor, Volcano's Bane. Really sad that he's dead. Yeah.
No, he's not a Volcano's Bane.
He'd be the opposite of the Bane. He'd be like Mountain
Father
Bane
of Volcanoes.
Yeah.
Father of the Fire Mountains or something like that. Well, that's a cool name. Waldrig, Father of the Fire Mountain. That's a good dwarf name.
That is
Father
a good
of the
dwarf
Fire
name.
Mountain. Ooh, yeah. Someone can credit me in your book if you use that for the next great fantasy novel that one of you guys are writing.
I love that Boogie Shaman got into Lord of the Ring. Did he?
What is it?
Flaming Star. He was not Gandalf came to Middle Earth in a flaming star that crashed.
Oh, I see.
And much like,
man, they must have paid him so much to have used that idea.
His likeness, he got a big payout. It's one of the reasons the show's so expensive. Flaming Star, he rightfully charges a lot for his likeness and image.
So, SA 1200, Anatar shows up. SA 1500, Dwarves Rings made. SA 1590, Elven Rings are made. SA 1600, Sauron creates and wears the One Ring. This episode spanned at least 390 years backwards.
Nah, bro, it was like 10 days.
when you were reading out that super chat, I couldn't help but think of a Latino guy cataloging all of his many friends. He's like, oh, SA 1297, he's one of my favorite, man. He's a good guy.
It continues.
Like
SA 1200, Anatar arrived, and 3255, Ar-Pharazôn forcefully weds Tar-Miriel. The first 2 episodes span 2055 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty absurd, isn't it?
Not
in
bad.
a way, it's the smallest crime that they do, but in another way, it's gigantic.
In the perfect world, there would be some fuckery with the timeline. There's fuckery with the timeline in the movies. So.
Yeah, like the 70-year gap between Gandalf leaving and coming back to the Shire to be like, yo, you won't believe what I just found out. But it works excellently for the movies. It's like we say very often, it's about execution. You can condense timelines if you do it well and it has a purpose.
I'd say it speaks to almost like a fundamental problem with like Rings of Power as a show. It's you're trying to turn in you're trying to create a narrative out of what was like backstory, out of something that wasn't created to make it easy to tell like a story on a condensed timeline as part of like a TV show with like a core set of characters over, days or weeks, over like a much more comprehensible span of time. And so even though they did it horribly, it's like, well, I mean, you probably didn't have many great options for presenting it in a way where the story had like stakes that were going to be sort of emerging in real time in a way that's comprehensible, like easily comprehensible to the viewer. But it's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have made this show in the first place. Then you wouldn't have to deal with these problems.
Mullen Rags need to confront Fringy for saying Bioshock Infinite has the best ending ever. Punish him by making him give his Across the Spider-Verse opinions.
I mean, I sure shit don't think Bioshock Infinite has the best ending. God damn.
If it was alone in a room, it wouldn't have the best ending in the room.
I think I was like more partial to Bioshock Infinite at first, but it was really that Matthew Matosis video that was like, man.
I was not partial to it. I fucking hated that game.
Oh, I meant at the first part of the game. When the game kind of first starts, you're like, okay, this is neat. New city, good music. Okay, these are neat vibes.
It's just
And
nothing
then
but
the game
disappointments,
happens,
especially if you're so
and
familiar
yeah.
with Bioshock, right? Because you're just like, oh, that's weird. They haven't introduced the thing that I was expecting them to do yet, and
Yeah.
it's like, I guess it'll come later, and then it never does.
You keep waiting for that point where they introduce like all of the ammo types and the upgrades and the weapon wheel and like all the different plasma variety, and then it just never happens. It just never
And the
happens, and you
story gets
realize, oh
progressively
shit,
more and more difficult to fucking follow. It's insane.
and you just want to get to the next cutscene so you can get past the next
Never get over
cutscene.
the
And
fucking
yeah,
and
it's
time
just
traveling,
not
dimensional
really
traveling
about
portals.
anything
Just
particularly, yeah.
oh, the key just
fucking
magically appeared in my pocket. How about that? Let's
It's
proceed.
just
It's like,
it's
okay, you gave
it's
up.
not really
You gave up.
about anything very interesting, is it? Like at its core, in terms of its ideas, they're pretty shallow
well, and then
compared
having
to
Rapture at the
Bioshock.
end, just ultimate key jangle of
Yeah.
like, you like this? Like, yes, I do like this. Stay the fuck
Yes.
away.
Yeah. Why do you think we like that?
The evil Mauler gave one ring to Rags to make him think he's a dog attracted to other dogs. Another fringy to make him think he's not a frog who's attracted to birds. What is happening? And to Jay, who he gave a kick. I don't remember any of this happening. I keep all the
There's
rings
nothing
to
wrong with being
myself.
attracted to your own kind. And beyond that.
Sauron is a spirit, not physical. Melkor is both. Anti doesn't mean opposite, it means a foal's replacement.
Okay. Sauron in the well, I guess in the show he's certainly physical because he does physical things. If he wasn't physical, then how could you see him? Like,
I mean, it's
at
this
because
point
like
you
the
have
light
to be
would have
careful
to
with
bounce
definitions,
off.
and I'm not familiar enough with Lord of the Rings super lore to be able to comment on any of this.
Super lore.
Hail the Toxic Brood. Just started watching this stream. Let's see if I can send a super chat to the future. Borderlands review when? No.
We considered it. We watched the movie.
We did.
We
It was a horrible experience.
we watched the movie
Well, you
wondering
two, I
if
haven't
we
seen
might
it.
cover it. Oh, don't.
Yeah, I'm not planning on it.
Yeah, Muller and I watched it. We were thinking, hey, maybe I've heard nothing but horrific things about this. Maybe it'll be worth coverage, and it just really wasn't. It's just a really terrible, shitty movie. It made us sad. It wasn't funny bad. It was depressing bad. And I kind of felt embarrassed watching it.
Yes.
I can't believe it, but it's more like it's more juvenile than the Borderlands games in a really bad way.
Can I get a good Riva from the two who do it every time her name is mentioned? Who the two?
That's you two.
It's not me.
Fringy always does it.
Rags, I know, is one of them, but I don't know who the other one is.
Why don't we should play it safe and all three of us should do it so that this gentleman gets what he needs to get him through the day.
Well, I already did mine, so next up.
We do left to right.
Wait, so I gotta try and do the Reva thing.
Yeah.
Reva! There you go. You happy with that?
Okay, now me. Reva!
That guy was awesome saying that.
He was really cool. The guy with the table for a head. He had a mushroom little helmet.
Not as cool as Jaden Smith's castle head, but I guess it's still okay.
Oh, are you team castle head or team mushroom head?
Castle head,
Answer
man.
carefully.
Fun. Never fails to make me laugh. Keep being excellent, guys. No problem. Hopefully that was what you were looking for. When Fringy's mic is quieter, he gets talked over. It's been going on for ages. Does he need new equipment? Sit closer. Goo on mic. Also, hi, Rags.
Hello to you.
Well, I will say what I've noticed is that whole thing where two people talked and one person went like it blocked them out.
They just get denied being a participant in the conversation.
I have noticed that a hell of a lot less in the past half year.
Well, that's nice. Because I never hear it, which means it's usually happening to me, which is annoying. And I don't know that there's anything that can be done about that. My guess is it's because I'm in Australia. Like that's my only guess as to why that's the case.
It never comes through on my end. It's when I listen back to the recordings and stuff, and it was awful for a while, where it would just be, it was, a lot of the times it was me, a lot of the times it was someone else. Multiple people were talking. One of them just was, they drew the short straw, and you just could never hear them if somebody else was making noise, and it really sucked. And like a lot of content was lost because of that. It's really a shame.
I don't know what Discord has done, but I'm assuming whatever was in place to make that happen is gone now.
Gee, thanks,
as for
Discord.
volume, I mean, you know, that's to some extent going to be controlled on Muesli's end, and I know that sometimes you have to kind of like adjust and tweak to find the right balance.
I usually try and make it so that anybody's levels vaguely match, but if anyone decides to move away from their microphone in the middle of a podcast, it's rare that I'll be able to catch it to adjust. But I mean, it doesn't always sound great anyway if you boost someone who's further away.
People should, it's good internet etiquette to kind of have your audio decently set up for conversations, in much the same way that if you're speaking to people in real life, you don't want to, whisper, you don't want to yell loudly. So there's, I wish people would consider internet etiquette a little bit.
After Star Wars Outlaws, Mauler, you owe Gollum an apology.
A Gollum an apology. A gology.
I don't know about that. Rags, you owe Chained Together.
I don't know that. I don't know Chained Together shit.
Froggy owe Starfield one, but all of you owe Atomic Heart a crispy... This says crispy clitters.
I assume it's a typo.
Hope so. In any case, I'm not apologizing to Gollum, okay? No. It's,
But it's, like, for warts and everything, Atomic Heart was it was a functional game. It was a game. It's not, I don't think it's fair to put Atomic Heart in there to those two.
Well, so, I agree with you. Like, there's no apology that needs to be given to Atomic Heart. We pulled it as we saw it, which was like, this is a fucking wacky game with things that work and some fun to be had, but also just things that are just fucking insane. So, I don't know. But I would way prefer there be Atomic Hearts out there instead of Outlaws, Veil Guards.
Absolutely.
Bang God, whatever God, all the gods.
Yeah.
You know.
Guard.
Isn't Gears and Mirrors what Major Lee shouted during the throne room fight in Last Jedi? Gears and Mirrors? I can't remember. Perhaps. As a quality control measure, Bezos requires an intern to monitor EFAP and produce 10 bullet points of criticism or compliment for each episode. What's on your list? Huh?
Say that one more time.
They're saying like a hypothetical, we have to produce a list of criticisms for episodes of EFAP. What would be on your list?
Give the dog more lines. Criticisms. I'm really happy with a lot of our stuff. That's not to say that we're perfect, but when it's
I'd have the
criticisms, it's tough to...
It would just be regular stuff. Like, hopefully people who have things to say are given the time to say it. Make sure that there's a good enough balance that it's not just insane craziness. Try not to get too repetitive with certain coverage, like, hopefully there's a unique reason to cover any given thing. Keep the variety up. Try and make sure you reach out for new and rising talents in the world and give them a bit of a spotlight. Just all things that we do try to do anyway, but, try and do a moral better, I guess. Like, I don't think there's anything that we're doing right now that we think is a drastic flaw, because we'd probably change it.
Yeah, if it was big, then we would have addressed it. But it's just, like Mahler was saying, it's the ins and outs of conversations and covering things. I think that we've got a great shape. It's just a matter of honing it.
Yeah.
And getting it better and better as we go on, which I think we've done a good job doing.
Thoughts on
I certainly think I've gotten better at it.
Thoughts on Disparu on X, saying Aragorn...
Horrifically negative. Oh, carry on.
Saying Aragorn was immoral for letting Arwen choose to become mortal and die. I had a little back and forth with him about this.
He said that? Really?
Yeah, and there was a bit of a thing about Aragorn didn't really want her to do that. Something that she chose to do. But they were both in love, and, that's something. And basically, the broad amount of responses to him were very much lined up of, like, dude, like, when you're that much madly in love with, and just you almost don't want to explain further than that. It's like their relationship was extremely passionate, and Aragorn wouldn't have wanted her to give that up, but that's what she chose.
And he loved her back, and there's something to be said that just because your life is extremely long doesn't mean it's necessarily better. There would be things worth giving up mortality for. Many elves in the Lord of the Rings history have, of course, given their lives for things. They've died for things. If anything, it just shows the depth of her love for him, that she would be willing to give that up to be with Aragorn. I don't think, as well, quite frankly, not really his decision. In a sense, it is her life. She's an agent. She's smart. She's been around a long time. She's wise. I mean, Elrond's her father. He told her what the what would potentially happen, and even Elrond was on board, and he was like, you know what, she loves you, dude, and you're a really awesome guy. Take this amazing kick-ass sword and make things, make the world good for my daughter.
He was literally like, it's dangerous to go alone, take this.
Take this, and take the best fucking sword ever made, ever. I guess
the sword
again,
that is a representation of my restored faith in all of man because of you. In large
Flame
part
of the West. I mean, just the name. I think that I think that is a very strange thing to say that I disagree with.
Made you look. The fix for the Mount Doom problem is for Na'vi to say, quote, "We felt when the fire mountain in the south exploded, that was the aftershaking." Was an aftershaking?
An aftershock is aftershaking? After...
I don't know if I've ever heard it called aftershaking, but...
Yeah, normally when people use those words, it's two different words. Like, after shaking the baby, place it down gently on the bed, or it's anything.
Oh, it's just an aftershock I've never heard described as an aftershake.
Yeah, it's strange. Maybe it's but I see what they mean. Yeah, I think that one of the things they needed to do was to more directly connect, because I feel like the dwarves would know what caused the issue, and if they wanted to draw a connection between the eruption and creation of Mount Doom and the boulders and the tremors that happened in Khazad Doom, they should have just said it. You see, if it's a big problem with season 2 of Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. If we need to have conversations like this. We need to have those meetings where the king and his son and all the advisors can get together and talk about this and come up with solutions, and we learn about the state of the world, the state of civilizations, the state of families and dynamics. It would have been a good reason for that to be brought up in a scene, but it just never was.
I was 200 miles north of Mount St. Helens in 1980. I saw the plume. I currently live 90 miles from it. Any dwarves in the Cascade Mountains would know.
That must have been an incredible sight to see that eruption in person. That must have been crazy.
Well, you see the news footage of that eruption.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
That's gotta be wild. It must be terrifying, to see that in person, that kind of...
But that's Mount Rainier is like an active volcano, isn't it?
I haven't checked. But
I think it is, and it's one of those cases of like, man, that's like a big volcano near a big city,
Neither Celebrimbor nor Galadriel should know about the 19 rings. That's just your opinion. Which is nothing to Amazon. Why does a super chat float while a member chat sinks? Because the super chat looks forward to be read, while the member chat looks back at the past streams. I read the member chat messages as well, don't you fret on that one. Though, some streamers do miss those because they don't get counted in the Super's back end that you get.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Fucking stupid. I don't know how long it's going to take them to change that, but hopefully they will. In any case, you have to grab them as they come in if you want to store them, Also, hi, Ragsputin.
Привет, господин.
Turin, son of Hurin, changes his name several times. Turumba is the one most familiar. Fair enough.
Tarumba. It's no teleporno, I'll tell you that.
To my kids, I said, quote, I was a boy child. And my 5-year-old started laughing. She doesn't know the reference at all, but said that sounded funny. My 5-year-old doesn't even respect Zack Snyder dialogue.
A boy child is a good... It's a child, a boy child. A boy child, yeah. Come here, boy child. Boy child?
EFAP is the only thing that brings me joy in life. Thanks for everything you guys do, except subjugating us to this show again. Well, I mean, you know. We gotta take it down when it pops up. It'll be a while until we get season 3. Oh.
Nice yeah, I guess so.
When will you invite Cody Dennison for Nolan films? Well, I don't know exactly who that is. And have we ever covered a Nolan film?
Surely. Surely.
Yeah, which one?
Maybe not. Have we? Yeah, I guess we haven't done like a dedicated video to or like stream to. No, I guess not. No, I don't think we have.
No, sir.
I don't think we talked about Oppenheimer, did we?
We talked. Well, we recommended it, but we didn't do like we didn't do an episode on it.
Because I really like that, and I think I was away when that was coming out. I think I was on a vacation. This is when I was in.
Probably
Seattle,
wouldn't have done an episode on that anyway, though. It's like a
just would have been recommendation.
Yeah.
Here's some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
These writers probably don't understand what subtle magic means. The Force is obviously subtle, but it doesn't have any special effects, right? Oh, do you mean like CG and stuff?
Or does he mean like it's visual effects and its presentation in a universe is more like some magic is subtle, some magic is like you have some magic that's very obvious and like a strong part of the world, like World of Warcraft, where magic's everywhere, and then you have stuff like I don't like certain depictions of witchcraft and shamanism where magic is implied to be real and seems to have effects, but it's not like obvious, to where it's maybe the difference is like how reasonable is it to not believe that magic is a part of the world, and in some universes and settings it's like, well, you'd have to be a fool to deny magic. It's clearly a part of the world, like a Dungeons and Dragons style world or World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, that kind of thing. But you know, and other things you could reasonably believe that some people might not believe. Like if we only had the first 3 Star Wars movies, it wouldn't be unreasonable, I think, that some people wouldn't believe in the Force. But then they add the other movies after it, and it's like, well, obviously it's real because of, you know, it's endless documentation.
It's a double shame that the dwarf plotline is the best of the show. Because of all the races in Middle-earth, the dwarves get the least development as people in their day-to-day lives. Well, the dwarf plotline went fucking nuts. Season 2, so.
Yeah, I would say it was, it has the nicest moments, but they're very few, very far between, and ultimately it ends up just being shit, garbage, terrible, awful, no good, very bad.
That one, yeah. Have you met many stonemasons? Careful now, girl. I enjoy you, but be careful. That's a Game of Thrones reference. Alpha Massive, yes. The problem here with the noisy racist dwarfs being their greed and racism weren't really amplified until after the dwarves were given their rings, which hasn't fucking happened yet. Afraid.
It's how...
None of it needs to make sense, okay?
Yeah.
It's just how... It's a ruination of the idea. The idea that it corrupts some element of who you are and it turns some element of you into a negative trait is a neat idea that gives you so much room for creativity and variance between who the ring is on or who is around it or who wants it. And Rings of Power is just like, oh, you've had it on 10 minutes, you're a crazy psycho greedy retard now. You're not even like a character anymore. It took Frodo 2 movies. It took him to the end of the 2 towers to draw a sword on Sam. And that was in a very extenuating circumstance. But
no, it's like, you just put it on and then you turn into a lunatic.
Yeah. It's so lame. It's like what a
it's not very
like what a child thinks
right?
of
like
it.
the notion of power as a corrupting agent becomes considerably less interesting if it's like an overnight radical transformation
Overnight.
that person should be able to see. Yeah, I mean, that's longer than it actually was. There's just nothing interesting to be said about that. It's the gradual destruction and erosion of like a person's integrity in the face of the ring. That's like what makes it an interesting and worthwhile allegory for power.
Are all the clothes in this universe blue?
No,
No,
Numenor,
I guess there's
blue.
a lot of blue.
A lot of
Yeah.
Numenorians have a lot of blue going on. I generally like a lot of the Numenorian aesthetics. Like their color schemes, the
armor
design of
looks
the
shit,
buildings. The armor looks shit.
But I think I agree that like Numenor itself, like I kind of like the Mediterranean sort of
yeah,
aesthetic.
like Greeky kind of classical sort
side,
of
city.
yeah. It's very an ocean oriented sort of thing. I like the blue, how that's a common color. They're the only
Numenor's a goober clown civilization in the show.
that's full of goobers, and it's Goobersville, but it's got some nice sights and yeah.
Lord of Rings Sauron.
Sarn.
I mean, I play
Sarn.
it. And
I've made Mordor, Sarn.
to close out, we have an extinct animal of the day called Joncaria. Joncaria. It's all one word. It's like this guy. Look at him.
Oh, let's see. He looks like a
More
hippo
like Choncaria,
and a hippo and a manatee mixed together, kind of, or
I think that's it. Yeah, it's like a hippo and a manatee and a little bit of dinosaur there at the front.
yeah, because his tail's like a turtle tail almost, and his face is like it's like a hippo. It's broad with the big nostrils up top, and the slightly webbed feet. It's like it because he wouldn't swim. Like hippos don't swim; they walk on the bottom of the water.
Yeah.
So that looks like what he might have going for him because he doesn't look like he has fins or flippers.
He believes slow and steady wins the race.
He just wants to be left alone to graze and hang out and just bask in the sun. Yeah.
I'm a fan.
And with that, we say goodbye. Thank you all for listening, and we shall see you in the next episode of whatever it is you'll be watching.
Yeah, we will see you guys later.
Cheerio.
Bye bye.